Alright guys, well we're at the shop again. I know that's kind of lame. I know you would prefer that I be out camping or doing something fun in the outdoors, but I haven't made a little video in a while, so I figured probably should give you guys some updates. I've had a few frustrating setbacks. I also figured I'd take a minute and update you guys on what's going on the Van Camping YouTube channel. Alright, so as many of you know, we are putting a 6-speed transmission into Sasquatch, and that was actually supposed to be happening this week. We were supposed to be doing the install, but as I started digging further into the instructions that I got from the shift controller company, I saw something that I had overlooked, and the fact that they highly recommended that the ECU in the van be reflashed and the old transmission data removed. Now, they also said when I called them, their support team, that most likely I could not reflash this one, and nobody was all probably doing that because it's an old ECU, it's an OBD1, it's not OBD2. So, but he did give me a couple recommendations. One was that I could probably find an ECU out of an F250 350 pickup of the same year and put that ECU in. And I'd have to find one that was manual. That would be the thing, and the reason why that would work is find one that was a manual transmission, put that ECU in, and then that would take out any transmission data, and that should work. But the other option I have is to put a Holley Dominator system in, and that was actually already on my list of to-dos, but well in the future was going to be the next upgrade to the van. After the transmission was installed, then I was going to start putting some money away for the Holley Dominator and put that in, and then once that was in and I had that all tuned, then the next thing would be to put some money away to replace the motor. But since we now have to have the ECU changed to do the transmission, I've just decided to put the entire project on hold until I have the money for the ECU or the new Holley Dominator system, because that is the direction I want to go. So I don't see any point in spending money on an ECU that I don't want to keep. So we're just going to put the whole project on hold for a bit until I can afford to do the Holley Dominator system. So I'm looking at probably like midsummer, if I even do it this year. If I do it this year, it'll be midsummer. I may just decide to go ahead and shelve the whole thing until next year. So the other major setback that I've had this week is I've had to spend a lot of time on the phone with the IRS. Turns out the accountant that I hired to do my books and to do my taxes over the last 2 years has done little to nothing. They have my books are all messed up, and they have not filed my taxes for 2020 or 2021. So that was a lot of frustration and anxiety, but I will say that I did talk to the IRS, and all will be fine, and I've got a plan moving forward to get everything fixed and taken care of. But yeah, a lot of that's very frustrating. I did have to send a pretty sizable check, at least a sizable check for me, to the IRS to kind of get myself out of any type of major trouble. But yeah, so that's taken a lot of my time. I will say I had a lot of anxiety calling to call the IRS. You know, you hear so many horror stories and things like that, but I'm going to say my experience with the IRS was actually very positive. I got through to people very quickly, and over the course of a couple of days I talked to 4 different agents. Every single one of the agents was courteous and helpful and helped me start getting things straightened out to where I can get this all resolved. Alright, so I'm gathering up my Mavic 2. I've had it in storage for a little while because I purchased the Mavic 3 Classic when it came out, and I've been using that in my last few videos. But while I was out filming this last time, I got a little error on the remote controller telling me that one of the motors was having an issue. So I went and landed it, inspected the drone, and found that this motor housing here that goes over the windings was actually starting to slip completely off. So I sent the drone in to DJI, and thinking it would just be covered under warranty, because I mean I barely had the drone for any amount of time, and I got a message the other day saying that they were going to charge me to repair it. So I had to call the customer service, which I will tell you, their customer service right now is a failure compared to IRS customer service. The IRS customer service was much more pleasant to work with than the DJI customer service. Their customer service was very unhelpful. I couldn't hardly understand the person. The first person I talked to was basically, I could tell they were just reading from a script. They weren't hearing what I was saying or listening to what I was saying in any way, shape, or form. And eventually I had to tell them to transfer me on to a supervisor, which they couldn't even get me a supervisor. Finally, a supervisor called me the next day. That person, I would say, was mildly more helpful than the other person. But either way, as it sits right now, I'm going to be flying this drone for a little bit because I'm waiting for their engineering team to look at the flight data logs, to confirm that that drone had never been crashed, which it had not ever been crashed. That one said it was brand new and had never had any incidents with it. Just on a side little review note, I think if you have the Mavic 2, I don't really see a lot of reason to go to the Mavic 3 Classic. I mean, it does have a better camera, but be honest, when it comes to YouTube, I don't think that people are really going to see the quality difference that much between it and the Mavic 2. And also, and it might have been just because the motor was having some issues or that motor housing was coming apart, but I'm gonna be honest, I feel like this one flies better and is more stable in the air than my Mavic 3 is. And I also want to point out that the other thing that I noticed is this one gets GPS way faster than the Mavic 3. It seems like it takes forever for the Mavic 3 to get GPS enough to fly. I don't know, I kind of regret that purchase now in the end, but if you are considering a Mavic 3 or you have a Mavic 2 and your Mavic 2 is completely fine and has no issues, then you might just hold on to it a bit longer instead of spending the money, in my opinion. I do have to say, I do regret now that I gave all my extra Mavic 2 propellers to Donald with Off-Roading the West because I am going to have to fly this now a few times. It does look like the ones I have on here are okay, but yeah, kind of regret giving those to you now, Donald. All right, for those that are waiting for a new van camping video, I did get out a couple weeks ago and filmed a new video. It'll be episode 2 of van camping. I'm really excited to see how the van camping channel has grown already. You guys have already, a bunch of you have already come over subscribed. I can't believe how well that channel's already doing, especially since I only have a single video out on it right now. But we are working on, like I said, we are working on episode 2. We did wrap up filming. We are in a great location and I'm really excited to share this next video with you. And despite all the other things that have been going on, I have had some time to start working on the edit, and I'll just kind of throw up a little quick trailer right now for you. Anyhow, I hope that gives you a little bit of excitement towards the next video. We have been working, like I said, we have been working on the edit. I'm hoping that I should have that out by next week. I've also been putting some behind the scenes photos and things like that on the new Van Camping website, which is www.van-camping.com. But like I said, if you want to see that video, or if you haven't seen the first video I posted, be sure to go over and subscribe to the Van Camping channel. I'll put a link down in the description. I'll also put a link to it at the end of this video. Check it out. Like, I'm really working hard on making those videos extra special. So beyond everything else, I've been also working on getting the van prepared for the new high top install that we're going to do at Wasatch Overland here at the end of the month. One of the things I've been working on is building the new cabinet that's going to be behind the front seat. This will be where the refrigerator and where my new stove will be. I'll have some storage, but it's also going to be the cabinet that the wood stove is going to sit on once I get it installed as well. It's been kind of nice. Sorry I have not done any video or anything like that on the build of the cabinet. With everything that has been going on this week, and like I said, as frustrating as this week has been, it's been kind of nice just to come here to the shop and be creative about building something other than video or work. You know, this has just been a nice, relaxing time to sit here and work on putting some things together. It's been a little slow and tedious because we're doing a lot of gluing and using dowels and some things like we've had to wait for glue to dry, and then we've been polyurethaning the new top and some of the other parts, and we know we have to wait for that to dry. And then of course, because it's still winter time and fairly chilly, it just takes extra long time. So I do a little bit each day, and then go back and work on other things back at the van. Like I said, it's just been kind of a nice break to actually come in here and work on something other than video editing or calling the government or fighting with DJI or things like that. So one of the other things I did is I finished assembling the wood stove. I put the legs on, put all the pieces on the interior end, so it is pretty much ready to go. And again, like I said, all the flue parts are in that box, and I'll just leave them until I get to Wasatch Overland, and then we'll get them out. But by having the new cabinet built, I will actually be able to get this set up, and then we can line everything up and make the hole in the high top for the flue and get that all in place. So hopefully, I'm kind of hoping that we have this thing working as soon as we leave Wasatch Overland in Utah. So too, this next week, I need to work on a couple things with the van as far as getting it ready for the high top. I need to go ahead and get everything off the rack and get the rack off the van. The other thing I'm gonna have to do is go ahead and remove all of the ceiling boards and insulation, get all that removed so that way, once we get to Wasatch, that they can get right to cutting the old roof off and putting the new high top on so we can move forward very quickly. So again, guys, I'm just sorry that I have not been super active. Like I said, a lot of frustrations, a lot of just work to be done between now and getting the high top put on. So I've just been kind of putting my head to the grindstone, or whatever that saying is. I don't think you're putting your axe to the grindstone. You're putting your axe to the grindstone. Putting the axe to the grindstone, trying to get things done. And the times that I do feel like sharing things on social media, to be honest, I've been more interested in sharing stuff on my new Van Camping website and sharing what's going on with those folks. And so I spend any spare time that I have for that kind of stuff on there, doing posts or interacting with the posts that they're leaving, which has been a lot of fun. So anyways, if you're not a member, you should be a member, because there's a great community of folks there. But as it is today, it's Saturday, and I don't know if this will go out on Saturday. You guys might not see it till tomorrow, but I'm gonna work a little bit more on the cabinet, and then Megan and I are gonna take a little break. We're gonna go up to one of our favorite camping spots. I am gonna be working a lot on the Van Camping video episode 2, but I'm hoping to be able to throw a backpack on, take a camera, and just spend a few hours tomorrow wandering through the woods, and hopefully maybe getting some images, which of course, if I do, I'll be sharing those on the Van Camping website. Anyhow, guys, that's all I have for you here, and hope everything's going well in everybody else's life. Few frustrations, nothing that's insurmountable. We'll keep moving on, and we'll see you guys again outside.